All right, here we go. We are live inside the Audi R8 V10, the new 2017 model. This is not the Plus model, so it has 540 horsepower. Wow. Jesus.
Crazy fast.
Whoa. I would say, what is this car 0 to 60? It's, I would say it's got to be like the low threes, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Wow, I'll have to look it up. Maybe it's a 2.9 even, or 3.1. That's the fastest I think I've ever been in a car.
Same here.
I've driven the Ford GT, which is probably like 3.5 seconds to 60, and this was way faster than that.
Yeah, the Plus, it must be insane. Another 100, maybe 60 horsepower.
Right. And I would take it. I don't know that you need it if this car is this fast.
Yeah.
Keep it up left here. Yeah, let's... Hopefully you can tell from the sound, but the engine's right behind our head. They're V10 and I can really hear it.
And the shifts are really fast.
Yeah. So it's a 7-speed dual clutch. Is actually really cool. And you even have navigation. You can set up the gauges any way you want. So that's Google Maps right now, which actually looks great. That's the best navigation I've seen.
Yeah.
And then you got the speed, and then the other one is the RPMs. And then you can go back to this mode. It even gives you the percentage of horsepower and torque that we're using. So when you're off the gas, it's 0.
Yeah. And if we just go on a little
when you're on the gas, right, the torque just went up to about 38 there. If you go straight and make a right,
okay.
Yeah, the next turn, assuming where these cars don't go. Let's see if he makes a right or not. If he makes a right, go straight.
Okay.
Just watch though for cops. That would have went viral.
If it even screwed, the camera survived. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. That's one car I've never driven. I've never driven the R8 in any form, V8 or V10. But and this is definitely a 911 competitor. We were talking, you know, a 911 probably blends in a little more, where the R8 certainly stands out with its shape. You know, the 911 is a great car, but there's, you know, the average person, non-car enthusiast, can't tell the difference between, you know, a 911 from 1980s or a present one. So the good news for buying a used 911 is you can tell everybody it's new, and your neighbors will probably believe you. But the R8 is just a classic shape. I mean, it's really, it came out in 2008 here in the US, and it really still looks the same. I mean, there's minor tweaks to it. This 2017 has a slightly different look.
It's a little sharper.
Yeah, it's a little sharper. The lines are a little harder, which I think is actually better. But you know, anybody would know that that's an R8. That's an Audi. You wouldn't say, oh, what car is that?
Yeah. And you know, if you have a car like this, you can kind of get that connection of having something that's almost like a Le Mans car, you know, for the road. I mean, it's a million miles away, but
right.
You know, it has that shape. You know, it feels like some sort of kind of race car shape.
Right, and it'll always be a classic shape that I don't think will get old. It'll stand the test of time. So now that the car is warmed up, the 8500 Redline is present. If you see our first video with just the specs and the exhaust sound, you'll see that the car wasn't warmed up yet, so the RPM Redline was at 6,000. So it's very similar to a BMW M car. Then you can go right up here. There's some good turns. This is actually my test drive course.
Okay.
When I get a new car, I always go into these roads for consistency.
I wouldn't mind having a manual, but the dual clutch does work pretty well.
Yeah, it seems very smooth. You can't even tell that it's shifting, really.
No.
If you didn't hear the engine noises.
No, it's like, it's so fast.
Yeah, I mean, dual clutches have certainly come a long way.
Yeah.
Say from BMW SMG cars.
Yeah, I've read that the earlier, single clutch automated manual on the first generation R8 was a little bit slow.
Yeah.
But then they came out with the second gen, I guess, S-tronic gearbox for that.
Make a right here. Oh no, go straight.
Oh, okay.
If he makes a left, you got a nice turn up here, and then make a right at the stop sign. Yeah, those are the R8s that you see for 70, 80 grand. Those are the automatics from 2008. So they're V8 engines with that slow single clutch automatic gearbox.
I think the most collectible first gen will be the manual though, because you just can't.
Oh
get
yeah.
it anymore.
Yep. Because you got the gated shifter,
Yeah.
which you don't have anymore. And make a right up here. The car to buy is probably a V10 manual.
Yeah.
Though it won't be as fast as this.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be, more visceral, more fun,
Yeah.
more entertaining. But
Yeah.
there's no way it's going to be this fast.
Rev limiter.
Little wheel spin, right?
I hit the rev limiter.
Oh. So in manual mode, then it doesn't shift for you.
No.
Okay, which is great. But there wasn't fuel cutoff like with my AMG, the GLA, and the CLA. There'll actually be a fuel cutoff before you
Okay.
get to the rev limiter.
Yeah, the rev limiter, that was the only time I hit it, but it seemed pretty smooth,
Yeah.
relative to some cars. It's
Right.
not
Yeah,
really jarring.
the GLA will actually shut you down. It'll do a fuel cutoff. Just watch this guy turning, and then you'll have an open run. There's probably a launch control, I'm sure. Not that we need it.
Yeah.
Now this car, I would say, has a pretty good ride. Accelerating fast there. Obviously, we're hitting the bumps harder, but
In comfort mode, it's actually pretty good, I would say. I mean, just driving around, it just stiffens up in dynamic mode.
so are we in dynamic mode right now?
Yes.
Okay, so we're in the stiffest setting.
There's also an auto mode, and then there's also an individual mode where I guess you can set the dampers up how you want and auto response and
Gotcha.
all that, which I haven't investigated yet.
You could probably save your favorite setting or something, right?
exactly.
Like the M button on
Right.
The handling is amazing. I mean, there's no body roll.
No. And the steering is super quick.
Yeah.
I mean, you barely have to turn the wheel, and it's practically telepathic.
Wow. Now the steering's electric, so I think you were saying that there wasn't too much steering feel.
There's not a ton of feel, compared to like a classic 911,
Right.
which is kind of, known for that steering feel. But it feels better than the BMW i8, which I drove last year.
Now, how did you like the i8? I love the i8.
I love it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not as fast as this, but it's still
Right.
fast.
Yep.
And I think styling-wise, I like it better than this, just because
Yeah.
it looks even
Looks
more like a concept car,
futuristic.
more futuristic.
Yeah. I drove an i8 at an event, and I actually wound up getting a very long drive in it because I missed the exit. And I thought that car was phenomenal. I mean, I knew that car would be fast. I thought it was, probably looks and fast, like GTR type.
Yeah.
But what impressed me the most about that car is actually handle.
Yeah, it handled really well.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cop. Well, that'll be a good video.
Yeah. I wasn't going that fast.
Nah. Well, being that we're in Saddle River, this is probably the 10th R80 you saw today.
Right.
No, he's not coming. We're good. That's another reason having a white car. If you had a flashy blue car, he probably would be coming. And again, we have 20-inch tires with Pirelli P0. The P0s are really great. I don't think they last that long. My experience, they last about 10,000 miles, but they're very grippy, maximum performance summer tires. But with this R8, I mean, it's all-wheel drive. You could put Blizzaks in and drive it all year round.
Yeah, and yesterday it was pretty wet out, and if you just put your foot down, you can really feel the Quattro doing its thing.
Oh, really?
To
Yeah.
really try to grip, and it does work. I mean, not that anyone doesn't know that Audi has a great all-wheel drive system. But
Right.
It's interesting to feel it really working.
My only Audi I've ever owned was a V8 6-speed Audi S4. I had a 2005 in Nogaro blue, and that car was phenomenal in the winter. It was my daily driver for a couple of years, and when it was raining, you wouldn't even know it was raining. That's how fast you could go in the rain. Now every car's like that, but back then that was ahead of its time. I think the Quattro. I think a lot of these Haldex systems have caught up to it, but Audi was the first and the best.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is still something nice about a rear-wheel drive car, but for something that you would actually want to use all the time and not have to worry about the road conditions, I mean, you can't really beat this.
Right. You can do a little highway
yeah.
run here if you want.
Yeah.
This is a good entrance ramp because it's downhill. Unfortunately, we have great back roads, but our highways just have too much traffic unless you're going early in the morning.
Yeah.
So on a Saturday, it's just shoppers.
There's a lot of refinement in this car, though. I mean,
Yeah.
It's so smooth when you're just driving around at low throttle.
Right.
Especially in comfort mode. I mean, you do get the best of both worlds.
Now we're still in dynamic mode.
Yeah.
And the sounds that we're hearing are all good sounds. So the sounds that we're hearing right now are the engine noise, where you're not really hearing wind noise or tire noise.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's quiet in this cockpit, but the noise is all good.
I do notice a bit of tire noise, in comfort mode when you don't have as much exhaust sound.
Okay, yep.
When you're just cruising around, but it's not a real problem or anything.
Right.
And especially if you shift all the way up to 7th gear, I mean, even now it's really quiet. We're still in dynamic mode.
Now, before we started here, we were looking through the specs, and we were averaging so far about 11.5 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
So that's probably, I mean, who cares about gas mileage, but that might be a downside to some people.
Yeah. And if you're really light on the throttle and you're in comfort mode most of the time, I guess maybe you could eke out more mileage. But
Right. And
this is mixed driving that we've been doing.
Yep. And how many miles is this car out there right now?
It's about 4,000.
Okay. So in 4,000, the long-term average gas mileage we looked up was 11.1.
Has a great sound.
Yeah. Now, is this a standard exhaust, do you know, on this car? Is there a sport exhaust?
I don't know if there is one. I think it's just whatever this is the standard.
Right.
And it has the flap, so it's kind of
Okay.
got dual personality.
Nice.
The only trouble I would say with a car like this is you really need to push it into areas where you're going too fast to really get the benefit of the car,
Yeah.
I kind of like the slow car fast idea.
Right.
Because on public roads you can have more fun, I think.
Right.
This car is fun, but you just need to, you really need to push it to areas that are not necessarily legal on a public road before you get the full benefit out of it. So.
Right, and I think that's the what you see with all the newer cars being electronic, especially with the dual clutch transmissions. They're they're really fun when you're driving in like a race car, when you're shifting at high RPMs, and when you're going into a corner and rev matching your downshifts a couple times. But you know, you're driving at a very fast speed to get to that point. If you were just you know, if you took an S2000 or a Boxster, that's a much slower car, but you're shifting through the gears and going up to red line, you're not breaking any laws.
Actually, I thought that was something that the i8 had going in its favor, because the interesting thing about that car is that it's a hybrid, and you can still sort of enjoy the fact that it's very quiet, and you can kind of run it in electric mode at lower speeds. So you kind of have this other aspect to the car that's interesting.
Right.
Whereas this car is still a nice car to drive at low speeds, but you're not really buying it because it's nice to drive at low speeds. You know, you want to get that excitement out of it.
Right, you're looking for the performance.
Yeah, and on the i8 you have that. You have both sides of that.
Right. And that's what I always liked about the 911s. Not so much my car, the air-cooled, because the turbo, you really got to get on the highway to exercise the turbos. But like a regular 997 or 991, they're actually fun at low speeds. You know, you're traveling around town with the stick shift. I think, you know, the dual clutch cars, you really got to be redlining them to really see what they're all about. Yeah, and I would imagine with the V10, with the manual from the previous generation, you could have a bit more fun with it at lower speeds. Right.
But, you know, I'll put this into comfort mode.
Okay.
And you probably won't notice it too much now on the highway, but it does soften up the suspension.
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely, you could feel the bumps in dynamic mode. You know, I would call it sports car stiff, not overly stiff.
Yeah. On some of the harsher bumps in dynamic mode, you really do feel it.
Right.
Should I turn around?
Yeah, you could go up here and make a U-turn, go the next exit.
Not a lot of room on this highway to really...
No, we picked the wrong day on a Saturday. Because where we live, the stores are closed on Sundays, so this highway on a Saturday, everybody's got to shop their whole weekend on a Saturday. So there's... During the week, it's all dump trucks, and on Saturdays, it's all shoppers. Yeah, I definitely noticed the difference. It definitely feels more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like it mutes all the bumps. These roads aren't smooth roads.
Yeah, and at 32 miles an hour, we're in 6th gear.
Oh, wow.
And it's just barely over idle, and it's so quiet. So in a way, that's cool, you know?
Right.
I guess if you just want to drive this every day to your job and not wake the neighbors up all the time.
Now, in this comfort setting, you're still driving in manual shift mode, right?
I am.
Okay.
Actually, you know what I noticed? I didn't
Did it upshift
I
for
didn't
you?
do an upshift, and I guess it did auto shift.
Because it says M4, like manual.
Yeah, you're
fourth
right.
gear.
And I don't know why. I just noticed that I did not shift, and it's doing everything for me. It may just because I let it drop down too low before that. I don't know. Let's see if it does anything. It's still in 4th.
Right. So we're going around a turn now, and it's staying in 4th.
I'm not going to touch the paddles. We'll just see what happens.
Well, it may not. It may keep you on the downshift just for gas mileage, keep you in 4th.
Yeah, it may just have gone down to 4 just because my speed was so low. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. Doesn't seem like it's.
No, I don't think it's shifting for you. Yeah.
I think the only way to get back to full auto is to go into manual with this, and then back to.
Well, see if you could shift it. You could shift it, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah. So
now you're in drive. Now you're in auto.
And there's also an S mode. If we move that.
Okay.
So I guess we can be in comfort mode with sport. A sport program on them.
Right. Now with the sport program, I assume it's still doing it would do the shifting for you,
yes,
right?
But I think it just holds onto the gears longer, and it may not shift up as readily.
Yep.
Let's see if we can. A car like this would be ideal if you lived in Germany and you could travel on auto.
Oh, absolutely.
But around here, it's not necessarily. You can't really.
Well, that's why I like German cars so much, because they're really bred for the Autobahn. So going at these speeds makes no difference to them. It's a very stable car, where a lot of cars get very nervous at higher speeds.
Yeah, I have to say, this car does feel so rock solid. I mean,
right.
It's very confidence-inspiring. And, you know, some people would prefer something that's a bit more, I don't know, ragged. I
Yeah.
Maybe the Huracan is sort of the other side of the coin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't driven.
I've been in there. I've been in the passenger seat just like this for the Huracan. Yeah, the Huracan's probably a level above this, I would say.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a much more usable car.
Yeah.
So the Huracan is more of a, and it's very usable for a Lamborghini, especially compared to like the Aventador. But you know, it's a more cars and coffee car.
Yeah.
Really opening in the road. You know, this you can take to the supermarket and buy milk. You're not doing that in your Huracan.
Right.
Maybe I would, but most
Yeah.
people wouldn't.
You could drive this car every day.
Yeah. And you know, the Huracan is a whole another level. It's $100,000 more, and you know, it's gonna be flashier if that's what you're looking for, but it's gonna stick out more too.
Yeah.
Where the R8 is flashy, but it's not on a Huracan level. Well, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. And we come out with new car videos for you guys every day. So thanks again for your support. Remember to subscribe and share.